Abusia Gift Tech Media. Subscribe to your YouTube channel, like your Facebook page, social media handles are holding in a juma. Na abusia so yankoda and sorry Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempe. Ya Tresa wono ena na nse ya enchebia okopimo manhia na afeso Jubilee Park ewo Kumasi Dr. Mamudu Baumia appointed no anase on choice oyi ni say the running mate ya omra meboano na omomontoa emfama the New Patriotic Party abusia yankoda sorry ne ati ni say Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempe wa resign anase ni dwumadi ato as running mate ma Dr. Mamudu Baumia na wei ena ensemi ekoso a krata no na mamonten so a enu bi na sabre wani gu so a wo hwei na ensemi eba ya no pai wo Peace FM kokroko so na Kwame Sefakan the chairman general ebo modern efre fifi boafo ya ono kasama Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempe the running mate ma Dr. Mamudu Baumia ni di nkomo obisa no say krata bi na monten so na mate se Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempe wa resign na asemi no kraba na wum na fifi boafo nso so eba be kire se asem we die wono onti na ni onimi ni se Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempe de krata ko se wa resign as energy minister na enumu na woni de wonim na krata ba se Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempe ayade a wa resign as running mate ni de wonti asesan se onama obontoa oko Eastern region ene yamyabia aka no bebre enti woni ne de wo hunu bi enti we no fake news we ene ne fifi boafo kan na no pai okokroku jumadi ni so enti abusia ye de ani eguso edi akire ne besi bia nso ne bebo modern se wonso obe tibie Gift Tech Media koso na fe subscribe to your YouTube channel na fe like Facebook page TikTok and so no ubenyayen
na mwade na so no mwade no mo bibi no so no yes say let it be current say NAPO has resigned as running mate
that ben no so
when has a date to one
because then
July 15 and then that was 16 January Fifi wafo
Kwame
Martin
Major Chairman
na one resignation no
any resignation, many fake news now circulating.
I patch my news kakra. What say?
But many fake news now circulating of that resignation.
One who fake news, one who resignation.
That's right.
Mikra mean some crate be resignation as running mate. I say Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempe na achoro say wejai.
And you know, in fact, someone na jo na now on social media, we also let people know on social media that again, okay, the Biasa is here. In fact, every Adana has inspired. There's a Matthew Prempe echo Eastern region, Okukushia corner of Manya Krobo. Everybody could think it out. We now for the Juma reaction as running base of the NPP. Lufu or call Yellow Krobo, Kushia participant, who be the more elbow. Our Baby Green and another Menoka say all parliaments are share the majority caucus of the NPP. Of course, with social media, there is a lot of YouTubers across the world. They are kind of one day. We are there, back to the and you know, credit. Pia says, na I did my Dr. Baumia Shanita, so on here as running with the man, the New Patriotic Party presidential application. Who's always there to man prepare.
Oh. Ain't you resign?
Oh, there be that. Wait here. Kwame, you need to be you who when I resign. Say, and William Shah talked about me and the NPP. They are shadow. The big guys are in William Shah and they are together.
You and you interest way. Say, on resign here, dear. But and then I'm say, yes, say, or the Jumana to.
But so, you need to Dr. Prempe I say Akoka Chairman Penny say a Juma of the man as energy minister. He's saying a suit for fry a dear man in your percent or dinner dad during a one day. The meaning so now or board Dr. Baumia and this a baby. Rather, the Juma as education minister, the Juma as energy minister, and all the other. The important the Juma as energy minister. So, like I say, How the cool in a video of this. But unfortunately said now, social media, no, the man will be it because also. But again, we create the behind and indeed, as soon as any acquaintance from Kwao to best level as a running meeting, that is man prepared and all this.
Okay. 50 minutes and pay. Now, Ukra Siren, dear. Yeah, that's an affair. Fifi Boafo, spokesperson for Dr. Matthew Pokuprempe, 24 minutes at the top of the hour. Peace 104.3. I think now can be about policy. Me and one FM call back to me sirens. No?
Yes, let me say, look, policy be our objective. We share free SHS policy as brought by Nanadwi. The idea is to increase accessibility to secondary education. Mahama policy, so the objective was to increase accessibility to secondary education.
Okay.
What varies, any the degree and intensity of your kind of saying what you do to cover and to ensure accessibility. If you want to say Nkrumah did his bit, but it was not entirely free secondary education in the north. It was subvention. Secondary education was heavily subvented. In fact, when he was presenting the 7-year development plan, what he said in that speech, he said, by the time you can say SAR policy, would have been the plan would have been fully implemented. By 1972, and these were his words, Ghana would have, begun enjoying free secondary education. Until as far back as the 60s, Nkrumah envisioned say Ghana Kolabia and here say Obenya secondary education. But we shall see it from a point. I can say, look, Northerners, because of the educational gap, 101 years now, between the South and the North.
At least it's been breached.
We are getting there.
Yeah.
And some of these policies are actually very instrumental in that process. Until now, you were doing it piecemeal. Access to secondary education, now you're piecemeal. Mahama Baye, even Kufuor did his bit. Even Metro Mass and Kola Frudico School, they are all part of enhancing access to secondary education.
But about free SHS,
by free universal free secondary education, whereby you don't pay for cost of secondary education. End
of story. But let me move on. Let me move on. And then Unipa Osei Kofi Akwa, former National Youth Organizer CPP, says, Chairman General, are you talking earlier about the sirens? They also want unlimited speed, irrespective of where or when. Greetings to your panel, especially Atik, my comrade, in whom I am delighted. Now let's move on to the issue, particularly this one. Metese Uriah friend Andy Apia Kubi Edibetuja justifying into Muhia. Now many opinion back and Anakumia down for pie friend Ato Williams. Ato says the day after we wake up to various discussions on our radios and televisions and social media, Ghana is very noisy. In the sense as some of the issues that grab our attention seem very mundane. And he goes on and on. It says the discussion is not on traffic as a hindrance to productivity and a solution to resolve it. Rather, it's about how the select few can get from point A to point B without hindrance by using sirens and flashing lights. How about we mere mortals? He goes on and on and on and on. I'll urge our legislature to show more empathy and have a pulse on our country's sentiments. Power and comfort have a way of warping reality, insulating you from the realities, and goes on and on. I pray that this law will be shelved with alacrity for the good of us all. At Williams, NAD and no Etuja.
Chairman, should be shelved. The election said there's a possibility of reintroducing it someday.
They be shelved it with alacrity. Just
they should be discarded forever.
Anyway, Atik,
Chairman,
what do you make of it? Maybe I know so.
This is yet another reflection of how increasingly, Chairman, your opinion we are losing sight of your foremost responsibility is to serve your constituents and by extension Ghana for. And service Yet you are saying, look, when you are made a leader, you are made a servant. Oh, they be a profile say Amutakan say, who serve the country, who serve our nation. Service no yet you are saying. Now you want to live like the sultans of Brunei in this country. You want to live like Sabi. Mudie mu class unku any ya kano your class unku, and that is not how this should be. Because say mu start using sirens, which means that you have no respect for well, there's no respect, but there's no regard for other road users. Mubana there is traffic, mudie mubeso mudie eso biama kwan yeso siren dia we hwan eso konchen na siren wura no abesinako. And that is not how you serve, your people. Look, elsewhere, ministers, any MPs, omudi traffic regulations so kama obia traffic chiwa na cho opeso ko be bintema sorentem just like everybody else does.
But amendments no they are right now at the parliament.
I know.
Now almost say head of state, president, vice president, speaker of parliament, chief justice, ministers of state, justices of the Supreme Court, and members of parliament. And then I must say, can
you imagine the chaos?
276 MPs.
Add the ministers.
Plus ministers who are not MPs.
Deputies can
plus Supreme Court judges.
Minister. Deputy ministers who can be. Chairman, we are running into thousands of people like killing us with noise in this country, causing chaos on our roads. Because ministers, deputy ministers, MPs, Supreme Court judges, the other 4 gentlemen, Chairman, you can't imagine the chaos. And I say, to what end? At the end, but what has happened that would occasion our amendment. At the end, they see Rebecca say, wait, because of the NNT, a be here say, be sadi. Me who see all of a sudden. Yes, MPs and you see sirens or Montra traffic light. Chairman, what kind of chaotic country are we trying to build? Say a sort red crana or no bit me up. Imagine say Sabi Obi ba Obi the aso green. Ooh, MP na Oban would the aso red. But you see who coins a bit me up red.
According to Andy Apia Kubi or say it will enhance productivity, ensure timely arrival of parliamentary meetings, considering the heavy traffic. Or say some MPs, ministers of state and judges have been arrested for trying to meet their schedules. Or say the exemption would only be necessary during congested periods. I think reasons living here.
Chairman,
I think
because MP and now minister Abo Keles Bokwanso are Chinenti. See, they want to legalize Keles Bono. That's precisely what this is about. Say, yen legalize or Keles Bono. Chairman, if you have a parliamentary meeting, you are required to be there at some point in time. Chairman, what stops you from waking up early? And because MPs, you see, the fact that the MPs and ministers were arrested, nobody is above the law. Chairman, this is what we call constitutional chaos. You want to legalize this chaos. Say, because we're MPT, or not dear, if I say, obebu traffic regulations, so because we want to now legalize the kind of misbehavior they were exhibiting on the roads.